Hello, we are live, and let me see, let me adjust a little bit the camera. And this here. Okay, how you doing? Say hi in the chat if you're around. I'm streaming from the UK, from United Kingdom, although I'm from Spain originally. So, today I want to continue exploring the new things coming for developers in WordPress 6.9, and I'd like to focus today on block bindings. Block bindings is a feature that I haven't explored a lot, so today we can explore it together. Let's refresh a little bit about the possibilities of this feature. And to start with, we can check the post that was published a few days ago in make wordpress.org/core about block bindings, and from there maybe we can explore some other things such as the official documentation. I don't know if let's quickly check the documentation. Let's see, what do we have there about block bindings? Yeah. So here we have a few examples, and maybe we can check the documentation a little bit, try some examples, and imagine the applications of this feature. There was another cool project called Remote Data Blocks. This is the one. Remote Data Blocks is a plugin that you can install. Yeah, this is the one. Yeah, this is a plugin that we can install that has like several connections already defined we can use to connect external data into our blocks. So maybe we can also explore this plugin. Let's read the article in makewordpress.org that says, okay, block bindings improvements in WordPress 6.9. For WordPress users, the block bindings user interface has been upgraded to improve how different data sources are displayed in the editor. Users can now easily switch between sources as well as bind and unbind attributes with a single click. So in order to try this, let's also check the test. Help test WordPress 6.9, because I think there's something here about the block bindings. Maybe we can also test this, for example. To test each of these updates, follow the testing instructions in each of the linked GitHub pull requests. So extensibility, backfish. Okay, this is the iteration issue that was focused on improving the UI and make it extensible. So right now the UI to create bindings is only available post meta. The idea is to polish it and explore using data views, which comes with some benefits, and figure out the proper APIs to let other sources hook into this. Okay. Then we have another focus, which was create mechanisms to support more blocks. As explained in this issue, there are a few limitations that need to be solved. Yeah, I think this is one of the updates here. So this is like the tracking issue, and then we have two specific pull requests. This one that we can... Okay, this is about the date block. Make the date block accept a manually set date, independent of the current post published or last modified date. Retain the latter two options by introducing a new block binding source called core post data that exposes to those two dates. So update existing block variations of the date block to continue to allow easy insertion of the post date and last modified date variations of the block. Okay, why? The block already supports the published date of the post and the last modified date. It's a natural extension to connect it to other data sources. One real-world example that inspired this pull request was, for example, a director's website with a film CPT that had the movie's release as one meta field. So, testing instructions. Start by testing backwards compatibility on the trunk branch, and maybe we can test this. Okay, let's open here playground.wordpress.net. We can test this with Playground. Here we can select 6.9 RC1. which in theory should have the same changes that trunk. And we can create a new post and insert the date block. So let's do that. We can come to a post and insert the date block. So this date block right now, it contains the date of publication, which is today. Check the code editor, the markup should look like this. Okay, so if we go to the code editor, okay, insert the date block and modified date blocks. So we need to also insert the modified date. And if we go to the code editor, okay, here we can see that this post date doesn't contain block binding, because the block binding is defined with this structure, with this object. But modified date is actually using core post data with the args field modified. And I guess that we can change the field and display different data, or we can even attach a different source. Let's check that. Check the code editor. The markup should look like this. Yeah. Okay, I see. Start by testing backwards compatibility. So then, okay, so this has changed a little bit. As you can see, we have date and modified. So there's a slight change regarding the... Okay, let's do one thing. Let's go to 6.8. We can apply settings, reset Playground. This is the cool thing about Playground. We can just launch very quickly a different WordPress version. Now let's go to the posts. We are right now in WordPress 6.8 and we want to check the behavior of the date and modified date. We save, we check the code, and we can see that indeed in 6.8 the data, like the markup of these blocks, is exactly the one displayed in the pull request. Now if we go to WordPress 6.9 version 1, we can save, we can apply settings and reset Playground. Then we can go to, we are in 6.9, we can go to the posts, we can come here, and what I'm going to do is to insert the same two blocks, date and modified date. I save, and now the code editor go back to the visual editor, set the posts, set the posts, publish date to an earlier date, for example, yesterday. Okay, publish the post and view it on the front end. Okay, now switch to this peers branch, but this is already merged. So we are directly testing this with Playground and with version WordPress 6.9 RC1, release candidate 1. So it should contain this pull request. We verify that the blocks still look the same as before. Go to the editor and reload it. Make a small change. Make a small change. Add a new paragraph with a few characters and switch to the code editor. Verify that the blocks have been updated by a block migration. They are now using block bindings. Okay. Because this pull request includes like a migration process somehow. Go back to the visual editor, date and modified date. Okay, let me see if this works, because if I go to the code editor, post date. So with the same wasn't there a way to display the code here in a nicer way? Is this something that Gutenberg provides? Let me quickly check this. Add plugin, Gutenberg. Although, no, it should be included already in WordPress 6.9 RC1. I think it rings a bell that this was. It rings a bell that there was some. Okay, if we go to Gutenberg. Okay, leave. Maybe it's here because in Gutenberg there are some experiments. And maybe we can check. No. No, there is no. Maybe it's in a plugin. Okay. Well, anyway, this thing we can see here in the code editor that the post date block is now using block bindings. And let me check. Here it is. The UI. The UI. This is the new UI that has been included in WordPress 6.9. So for a specific, how does this work? So it displays the sources available for this block, because when we define, let me refresh this because I don't remember exactly. Okay, let's refresh very quickly the block bindings. So the block bindings lets you bind dynamic data to the block's attributes, which are then reflected in the final HTML markup. So an example could be connecting an image block URL attribute to a function that returns random images from an external API. This is a binding for the URL, and the URL of an image can be obtained via this function. So we link the returned value of this function to the URL attribute of an image. Because no, WP image. So registering a custom source. Registering a source requires defining at least a name, a label, and a callback. Once a source is registered, any supporting blocks metadata bindings attribute can be configured to read a value from that source. Okay, registration of the custom source can be done via PHP or via JavaScript. Okay. So when we register a block binding source with this label, we provide a label and a specific callback. Okay, this example requires a post meta. Block bindings source value filter. Okay, it's a filter. The value returned by getValue callback can be modified with the block binding source value filter. Interesting. So this is another new thing coming in 6.9. A new filter. Block bindings source value filter. So block binding source value filter. This is a filter that is triggered on all source values. And okay, let's try thing, because if this is applied to all source values, maybe we can, one of the tests that we can do is to log the names of all the sources that are defined for block bindings. We can add this filter, and instead of filtering for a specific binding source, we can just log all the sources. Okay, let's try that. I'm going to use WordPress Studio. Okay, let me go here. I'm going to create a new site, create a site. I'm going to create an empty site. What's new for devs in 6.9? Advanced settings. I want the latest 6.9 RC1, custom domain, okay, new for devs. And I want to also enable HTTPS. Okay, I'm launching a new local WordPress instance, and I'm going to open this in Cursor. Now I have this WordPress instance running in 6.9 release candidate 1, running locally through Studio. So what we're going to do here is we're going to the plugins folder, going to create a folder called block bindings exploration. And here I'm just going to create a plugin PHP file. Okay. So this is a plugin. We simplify, we just need this. And what I want to explore is, let me check if we have the config debug true, debug log true, and the content dir, I think by default is WP content, so let's leave it like that. Okay, what we are going to try is this filter. Instead of this, block binding source value, I'm going to call this block bindings exploration blocks. And for all the sources, so we receive here the value and the name. The name is the name of the label. No, is the name. This is the name of the source, of the block binding source. And then we have the value that is passed to the callback function as source args. Because when I can call this source, for example, in our test. Okay, in our test here, we can see in the code editor how we define a source and how we pass some args. So the args we pass will be received here. So let's do this and this. This is what I want. And then I'm just going to return the value. This should be harmless for the This should be harmless. So now if we come here and we say we can say plugin activate block bindings exploration. And if we go to our website, which is here, the plugin should be activated. So let's go to plugins. The plugin is activated, and okay, so this is only triggered when when the, okay, this is only triggered when the block binding is acting, yeah, because this is the only time when that's called. So if we say date and we say modify date, okay, let's saving. Okay, fatal error, argument, too few arguments to function. Okay, too few arguments. So, okay, let's check the documentation here. Let's check the documentation of the let's check the documentation of this filter. So the filter, this is the filter. Okay, so maybe this, okay, developer, WordPress.org. If I go to code reference and I look for this filter, hook block binding source value. Okay, so block binding source value. Value name source args, maybe we can say here value name source args, or maybe just args. Block instance and attribute name, for example. And well, block instance and the attribute name. No, I don't need this. Okay, let's go to our WordPress installation, which is this one. Let's update the block. There has been a critical error. And coach argument, too few arguments to function block bindings pass. One passed and exactly 5 expected. Okay, so is this the problem? So I see. So okay, so maybe no. So maybe well, okay. Let's check. Let's check the logs now. Okay, so I clean, and if I save, okay, define variable name. Yeah, I cannot define because the add temp5 to the add filter call. Thank you, Ryan. Because the 5 is the accepted args. Okay, and now I can post everything. Perfect. Yeah, add filter name callback temp5. Right. Thank you so much, Ryan. You're a lifesaver. So, okay, I'm going to pass everything, although I'm just going to display 3. So 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The default value is 1, so what's the any? Okay, yeah, makes sense. Makes absolutely sense. So we are going to our WordPress installation, reload. Nice. And now, if we go to the debug log, okay, this it makes more sense. This is an array, so maybe we can do here. Maybe we can do here print args true. I'm going to reload this again. Nice. So we have the date, we have the specific binding source, and then we have the field modified, because this is one of the args that we are passing here. And remember, well, we have modified in 2 cases, but are these 2 modified? No, one was date and the other one was modified date. If I go to the code, I can see, okay, and this is the, I don't understand this, because by default is, maybe this is a backwards compatibility issue. By default is inserting this, but if we go to the test, if I go to the here, if I copy this, okay, this is the playground. I'm going to close this because we are now using a local WordPress instance. So if I replace this with this, now we have 2. We are using 2 binding sources. Okay, we have metadata bindings date and datetime, source, core, post data, and these are the args, and this is the key date. Core, post data. So the source is the same, and here we are binding to the date, and here we are binding to the date time. Okay, metadata bindings, this value, let me refresh what this value is. Okay, now we are actually seeing the two dates. And if I go to the editor here, okay, I save. Let's check 6.9 version. We are in the latest version. Why I cannot see the UI now here? Going to remove this one. Save. Exit code editor. Transform to variation. Okay, so this is post date. And then we have modify date. Modify date. How did I display the UI before? Okay, let's continue testing let's continue testing the issue. Okay, observe that the first block, let's just copy and paste this to our editor. We come here, we copy and paste this, we save. And in theory, we should see here a UI somewhere. I don't know exactly. I don't know exactly what it is. No, it should be here. It should be here. Okay, let's continue testing the issue. Okay, before EA post publish date and modify the block, save, we save. We can change the specific date, no problem. After, modify date. Okay, date. We can change okay. Note that the post date block changes upon publish. This is because the post wasn't previously published. Okay, clicking publish sets the post publish date and the block reflects it. Okay. So we have post date. We have post date. If we go to the code editor, we can see that this is date time, source code post data, field date. And this is corpus data args fields date. So these are the same. These are the same. So we are post date, source, and the first one is key date, and the other one is key modified. The first block is now called post date. Okay, the two ones are called post date. Modify date. Okay, so the test is I go to here, I insert a date, then I insert a modified date, I change the date to an earlier date, and this is the manually set date, and this is the current published date. Because it's a block binding, that is a fixed date time, and the other one is getting the value dynamically from this function that is executed in the server via this source. Okay. So this works as expected, but the UI is not being displayed here. And I don't know why. No, it shouldn't be here, it's here. So we have here a date, and I can transform it into post date. Now it's post date. A modified date. So I think we can change the date it was published to maybe last Tuesday. And this is updated to last Tuesday. So this is the date the post was published, and this is the date the post was last modified. Okay. And this is working well. This filter is working well. Nice. Let's continue. I think this is working well. Post date, publish date, and modified date and generic date block that can be used to format and manually enter date. Yeah, indeed, this works as expected. So this is tested. The other thing, when saving the image block, include the fig caption element if the caption attribute is set, or if it's bound to a block binding source, or if the whole block has pattern overrides. The following instructions describe using normal block bindings for testing this PR. Alternatively, you can use pattern overrides to test it. Insert an image block and have it display an image that you uploaded or selected from the media library. In the code editor, insert markup to bind its caption attribute to a block binding source. Switch black to the visual editor and enable its caption. Okay, save and or publish the post. Reload and switch to the code editor to verify that the image block contains an empty fake caption element. View the post on the front end and verify that the image caption shows the correct value obtained from the block binding source. Okay, let's do that. Insert an image block and have it display an image that you uploaded or selected from the media library. Okay, what I'm going to do is, what is a good source of images? This is a good picture. Download image, save image as desktop. So we go to, going to close. Going to close here a few extra browser tabs that I had open. So now we are going to insert an image and I'm going to upload this image. Now in the code editor, insert markup to bind its caption attribute to a block bindings source. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to register a block binding source. Or maybe I can do that. Maybe I can do that. No, I think I need to define my own source. So to do that, what I'm going to do is to register a custom one. I'm going to do this like this. This is an have here this and this and this. So we register block binding source. My block bindings X operation and caption source. Okay. Label caption source, get value callback. I receive this. If it set source args key, I return a specific value and I don't need to use any context. And what I'm going to return here is maybe just a return hello world. I think that's fine. And maybe I can just do this. I don't... No, what I'm going to do, I'm going to lock this. And for now, I'm going to comment this. And the debug log. So when this block binding source is called, I'm going to log the values received by the callback. Maybe I can add here okay, let's do a bit nicer. So I'm going to this is what I want. And I don't know, maybe I can also add like a separator or something. Yeah, something like this. Nice. Nice. Here I'm going to add a specific. Okay, we are exploring, so this is a good exploration icon. Yeah. Block bindings exploration. So now we have this, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to bind the caption of the image to this block binding source. To this block binding source. So now let's go to we can go to our WordPress instance, which is here. I go to the code. I would really like to know how to access the UI, because this is something that is available in WordPress 6.9. Anyway, code editor. And let's check the instructions here. Insert markup to bind its caption attribute to a block bindings source. The caption belongs to the image or to the... And this is failing. Okay. Error log. There's yeah, I need the... Yeah, these are the things that happen when you come from a JavaScript background. Okay. Yeah, everything seems fine now. So we have the figure, we have the image. We have the image. In the code editor, insert markup to bind its caption attribute. Okay, to bind its caption attribute. Okay, the internal attribute of the block. So, okay. So now we have the ID, we have the size flag, we have the link destination. And now I can include metadata. In theory, bindings, the caption, source, VB exploration caption source, and no args, and no class name either. Save. Source not registered. What do you mean, source not registered? It's here. Block bindings. Register, block bindings, source, VB exploration, caption, source, and register, block bindings, source. I think maybe it has to do with the this. Okay, I'm going to go to JSON online, and I'm going to add here this and this. I think I know what's going on. Okay, you out. I think there is an extra. Okay, what I can do is check this. This should be a JSON, so this should be expected but rich. And if I go to tree, it's fine. So I copy this and I'm going to go to here. Yeah, this is fine. There was one missing here. So save, exit code editor, source not registered, attributes connected to custom fields or other dynamic data. Source not registered. Maybe the hyphen doesn't like it. Let's just remove it. Oh, maybe it didn't save the file. Because these things happen. Okay. Source not registered. This is interesting because here I don't see this. Why? And it's the same metadata bindings, datetime, source. Because I changed the name. Caption source, and if I go to the image, I'm not displaying any caption because I think I need to enable the caption. Caption source. Okay, this is working now. Let's check the logs to see if this is working properly. So we are going here and the backlog. Here. Okay. Okay, I'm returning hello world here as the value. As the value for this caption. And the caption here. Switch back to the visual editor and enable its caption. How do I enable the caption here? Select this here. Caption. Is there a specific way to enable the caption? Line, link, crop. If I save, hello world. Yoo-hoo! We have it. Okay. And here we have the okay. And also now we have here this we save. Now if we change hello world this, I'm going to remove this. Then we can go to the and we get the string. Nice. What else? Okay, switch back to the visual editor and enable its caption. Save, reload, and switch to the code editor to verify that the image block contains an empty fig caption element. So if we come here, code editor, fig caption element. View the post on the front end and verify that the image caption shows the correct value on the same. Okay, this is working. I can confirm it's already merged, but I can confirm it's working. So these are the things that we can test. To test each of these updates, follow the testing instructions in each of the linked GitHub pull requests. I think that we have successfully tested both, and now let's check the improvements. So we have a new filter, block bindings, supported attributes, block type. This is interesting because allows developers to customize which of a block's attributes can be connected to a block bindings source. So if we go to the documentation of block bindings, get block binding sources, we can also leverage we can take advantage of the local sources. So let's continue our exploration. If we go to the console, we can say here WP block editor dot okay, let me quickly WP block editor. If we go to the block editor, block filters, WordPress editor. So what I want to do is each one of these packages. So for example, if we go to data module reference, the block edit post, the block editor's data, there are some selectors. That I can use to, and I can do that with select. Select is well, I don't remember exactly, so it was something like okay, let me find, because I have some tweets. What was this? Sorry, I'm looking for this in a private chat, but it should be, yeah. So I have here this chat, this tweet, and this tweet. WP data select. That was the thing I was looking for. So what I can say is WP data select, and then I select the specific store, which is block editor. Have core blocks, and the block API reference, core blocks reference, and data module reference, the block editor's data, core block editor. This is the namespace of the store. And now here I should have access to, according to the documentation, okay, let me go back. Yeah, block bindings utils. We should have, for example, get block binding sources. Okay, because this is from blocks. For blocks, from core blocks and WordPress blocks. Let me check. WordPress blocks. Core blocks. Okay, let me get block binding sources. WordPress blocks. WordPress blocks. Okay, clone block, create block. Let me see if I have access to this. So with this, no, this is not. Okay, okay, this is the package reference. This is the package reference. But I want data module reference. Core blocks. Okay, maybe this is not available. Okay, this is not available from this, but I can do something like blocks. Get block binding sources. Okay. So here we have, and we can see here our custom. This is interesting. And maybe we can do a plugin with data views displaying this. Because we have access to this information. We can display maybe caption source. Well, we cannot caption source. What else? If it uses context, and yeah, not too much, but it could be interesting if we could check, if we could execute the callback. That would be interesting. Okay, so let's go back to the documentation. Let's continue exploring. We can getting all sources, getting one specific source. So for example, we should be able to do here, we should be able to say $bp blocks dot get block binding source. This one, the one we have registered. Block bindings utils, since WordPress 6.7. Okay, it's a hook. We cannot try this here. So from JavaScript, we can use this function update block bindings to create, update, or remove specific connections. So update block binding utils. Update block bindings, update block bindings URL undefined. We can, for example, okay, let's try this. Well, no, we cannot try this because this should be something we need to maybe load a JavaScript in the front end. How would this work? We load this in the block editor, and then we link or unlink different bindings. Remove all block bindings. We'll remove all existing connections in a block by removing the data bindings attribute. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. And this is block editor. So if we go to here and we say block editor, and then we say use block binding utils, and we execute this function, and then we get remove all block bindings. If we execute this, we get an object, right? Because we are destructuring here the object, and this object contains this method that we can execute directly. So in theory, all these bindings that we have here should be removed. Okay, let's do this in a two. Const right, something like this. So use block bindings, we get and this is a property that we can destructure, and then we can do this. But remove all block bindings is not defined. And if I do this, what do I get? Okay, this is not working. And if I do block editor, if I do block editor and then use block binding utils, this is a function. But if I execute this function, Okay, it's not work. Use block binding utils is a hook, something that I only can use in a React environment. Okay, nice, fair enough. Fair enough. Is there here something? I don't think this has been updated 6.8. No. Okay, let's go back to the block bindings. We have a new filter, block bindings supported attributes block type. Allows developers to customize which of a block's attributes can be connected to a block binding source. Okay, so if I register a custom, in theory, if I register a custom block, I should be able to customize the. Okay, let's continue with the rest of the post. Okay, so for the users, the block bindings user interface has been upgraded to improve how different data sources are displayed in the editor. Users can now easily switch between sources, as well as bind and unbind attributes with a single click. I think this only applies to those blocks have enabled this block binding feature. Here I have the attributes. Okay, maybe, let me see. No, the attributes. This is interesting. Okay, maybe this is because I'm using here okay, bindings datetime. Bindings datetime. Okay, this is the attribute, internal attribute that I'm using. So I can bind values to attributes, as well as bind and unbind attributes with a single click. So for example, here, the attributes that I have available are these ones: ID, URL, title, alt, caption. For example, if I change this to alt, I don't know this UI. I don't know how is this supposed. Am I using the? Let me see. Which version am I using here? Site health. This should be WordPress 6.9 RC1. In theory, this should include this change, but I don't see it here. I don't see I can see the attributes that I can connect to a custom block binding source, but I don't see the option to very quickly, for example, maybe the alt I want to connect it to this. Okay, I need to dig deeper. For WordPress users, user interface has been upgraded to improve how different data sources are displayed in the editor. On the server, a new filter block bindings supported attributes allows developers to customize. Okay, on the editor, developers can now register custom sources in the editor UI by adding a getFieldsList property to their source registration function. Developers can now register custom sources in the editor UI by adding a getFieldsList property to their source registration function. This function must return an array of objects with the following properties: label, first haiku, second haiku, third haiku. Okay, the paragraph. The function must get fields list. Let's check. Okay, we need to check the issue. Iteration for WordPress 6.7. No. Highlight grid. Ability to add your own third-party sources to the UI via getFieldsList. Okay, very good, but where's the code? Okay, pull request. Opened. Can I filter here? Sort by recently updated. Set blocks as read. Okay. Happy to extend the UI to external sources. Okay, the SPR introduces a block bindings editor UI API that allows third-party developers to extend the block bindings UI with their own sources. The existing block bindings system lacked for an extensible UI, no way for plugins to customize the bindings interface. So we can register a block bindings source. I see. Key, post title, view count. The attributes validation is made following these docs. The attributes validation so we can do this now. Select this. Attributes content. Okay. So we can customize this more. Okay, maybe we can very quickly register or register block binding source. Maybe we can do that directly. Maybe we can do that very quickly here in WordPress blocks. Okay, in WordPress blocks. So let's do that. Let's do that. If we go to here, inspect, and what we can do is wp WordPress blocks. Register block binding sources. WordPress blocks. Okay, this is API. This is WordPress blocks. What is the handle or the namespace? So in theory is a block, so we can say clone block, create block, say okay, let's update this. And now blocks. Register block binding source. No, register no, what I wanted to do is yes, this register block binding source. Okay, let's do this. In theory, if I come here to block, my plugin custom source editor UI, select context, const data, post title, drop down mode, to extend the block binders UI with their own sources. Okay, custom source. So So this is for this caption source. Maybe I can do more things here. Okay, let's try this. So if I reload this and I do this and I do this, okay, for that specific source, maybe I get no. So for example, here, select okay. Okay, but developers can register custom sources in the editor by adding a get fields. By adding a get fields. These are two different things. Developers can register custom sources in the editor UI by adding a get fields list property to the source registration function. So, function must return an array of objects with the following properties. Get fields list, but this is not. To the get fields list. Okay, I need to check this more. Okay. This is for the design of this asset. That's the final one. Yeah. Nice. Okay, I think I have explored enough for today. We have gone through this list. We have tried several things, but honestly, I haven't been able to check a lot of the things that were here. So I need to ask maybe Carlos about this and see how I can get a cool demo about this. Anyway, there will be a developer hours in a few weeks where me and Jonathan Bossinger, we will talk about the block bindings API and the interactivity API. So stay tuned about this, and we will announce this in Twitter and some channels, and also in the Make WordPress Slack. So yeah, have a very good weekend and see you next week in Spanish and in a few weeks in English. Okay, ciao.